Well, let's go ahead and bring in Tracy Walder, former CIA officer and FBI agent. Tracy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Kelsey.
Well, Tracy, let's go ahead and start with this DNA. From what we know, does Bryan Kohberger, does he look guilty?
Absolutely. He's 100%. That affidavit is pretty impressive. Just like what Mr. Gonzalez was saying, they really do have him sort of pinned to the wall here. The DNA obviously is important. However, what's most important really is the white Hyundai Elantra, because that's what puts actually Bryan Kohberger at the scene. And that's how they were able to really figure out who that was, because when they first ran the DNA that was on that knife sheath, no one was in the system. It was really traced back to someone who was the person's father, which was his dad in Pennsylvania. And so really by looking at that video of the Hyundai Elantra and seeing it kind of circle that area 3 times and then subsequently follow it, and that police officer at Washington State spotting it, that's how they were able to track him as the person inside the vehicle, because that's who the vehicle was registered to.
Well, investigators do have a lot of evidence. Well, detectives, they've also confiscated his computer. They have his car now. What else could police be looking for?
Well, first of all, I think his computer is probably going to be a treasure trove of information. And I suspect his computer may shed more light on sort of the motive and why he selected the people that he did, or the house that he did, because really that's what's, I guess, missing from the probable cause affidavit. And they don't need it to arrest him. But I think that's really where the biggest questions are, the kind of why and how did you select them? And I really do think a lot of roads in terms of that is going to lead back to social media. Also, he may have tried to dispose of other evidence, maybe clothes, the face mask that he was wearing, those perhaps Vans shoes that they talked about in the affidavit. Those kinds of things may be in his apartment in Washington.
And of course, police are still searching for that that weapon. Well, let's go ahead and talk motive. Why did Kohberger choose this group of students? And was Kaylee Gonzalez, was that his main target?
You know, there's a lot of hypothesis, right, that I'm sort of throwing out there because I wasn't there. I'm no longer in law enforcement, but I guess using my best guess and my best judgment, I think that someone upstairs was perhaps the target, although I know there's a lot of people that dispute that, and that's okay. But I guess really going back to what Kaylee's father said, and I said this from the beginning, he didn't have to go upstairs. And that's what's sort of mystifying to me, because that's obviously highly risky, right? If he entered in on that second floor, which we know that that's where he entered and exited from, why go upstairs and create more noise potentially? And so I guess that's kind of what I think based on the information that's available.
Well, based on the affidavit, do you believe that this attack was premeditated?
I personally do. I think when you look at those 12 cell phone pings that the affidavit mentions that were around the area, you know, in the 3 months prior to the crime itself, I do think that was him perhaps, you know, scoping out this location. And, you know, quite frankly, he may have gone to a party at this house and familiarized himself with the floor plan. You know, we don't know. But I absolutely do believe that this was premeditated. I think the affidavit does a really good job of laying that out.
And really the question we are all asking, do you think this was Kohberger's first kill?
That's an excellent question, and that's one that I've been thinking a lot about. Personally, yes. And the reason I say that is because of the amount of mistakes that he made, especially being a student of criminal justice. I think there are things that he did that are, in my opinion, quite surprising and quite suggests that this was perhaps his first kill. You know, leaving the knife sheath. I mean, that is a huge no-no. Also, using your own vehicle in the commission of a crime is also unusual, you know, for, I guess, more seasoned criminals. And also the idea that he had that 2-hour void of his cell phone, and then he had those 12 cell phone pings before that. I would have suspected someone using a burner phone or something like that. And so, you know, that's what it all suggests to me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.